guys! If you're watching this video, the chances are pretty high that you're either doing the IB or that you are considering doing it in the future. Either way, I feel sorry for you. I know what you're going through. I've been through the same thing and yeah, I still have nightmares. Anyway, I graduated from an international school in Munich a year ago and I ended up getting 42 points, which I am pretty proud of, and so I thought I'd share with you my top tips on how to rock the IB. But before I get started with my tips, I wanted to tell you guys which subjects I did, because people are always like, yeah, okay, great, you got 42 points, but what subjects did you do? At higher level, I did biology, economics, and English language and literature. My standard level subjects were German literature, geography, and math. Okay, and now on to my top tips on how to do well in the IB. Number 1, pick a good IB school. It matters so much which school you go to. For example, I started off the IB at a boarding school, which was not very good for doing the IB, so I stayed there for like 4 months and then I went to the international school here in Munich, which was amazing. Basically, it really helps if you look at their past results, see how many points people have gotten on average, and if you have a look at what the highest point score has been in the past, because that really shows you how well a school usually performs in the IB. At my school, the teachers were really great. They knew what they were doing. They had so much experience with the IB, so they were really helpful. Also, a lot of people in my grade got predicted a lot less because they were really strict, which I think is good, because if you get predicted a little less and then you get a higher grade in the end, you're happy, and if it's the other way around, you're just disappointed. If you're not yet in the IB, do your research and pick out a good school, because the teachers and just the facilities that they have will make it so much easier to get a good grade in the IB. Tip number 2, pick subjects that you actually enjoy. You're going to spend so much time studying and doing work for the subjects that you've chosen that it's going to help enormously if you pick subjects that you're actually interested in. Don't take a subject just because your parents tell you to do it or because your friends are doing it. Of course, if you already know what you want to do at uni, it might be helpful to look into what subjects are going to look good, that will help you actually get into the course that you want to get into. For example, if you want to do medicine, obviously taking biology and chemistry is going to be really helpful. For example, I started off taking art. It was just so much work and I spent so much time doing it. It was actually the subject I put most effort in and most time into, and I just didn't get out like good grades. I spent like the whole weekend working on a piece. Our teacher ended up giving me a 4 and I was just really unhappy with my art teacher, and I just knew that I couldn't continue doing it because it was just taking off all my time. So I talked to our IB coordinator. It was the end of year 11, yeah. I talked to him, I was like, I just can't continue doing this. It's taking up so much time and I'm not getting any good grades. And then after I talked to him, we decided that I would switch to geography, because I had previously done geography at my old school. So I had some basics. So after 1 year of taking art, I switched to geography, which was the best decision ever. Oh my god, it totally like saved me. I know it was super late to change, but I got a 6 in geography even though I only started doing it in year 12. But it just shows that if you take the right subjects, it's gonna help you so much get a good grade. Tip number 3, develop a passion for the subjects that you're doing. What you're studying might not seem like the most interesting thing in the world to you, but you have to pretend that you like it. Pretend that you like math. Pretend like what you're doing in economics is the most awesome thing ever. Pretend like it's so interesting, because that is just gonna change everything. I'll give you an example. When I was in 2nd grade, you know, everyone around me was like, oh, math sucks, I hate math. And I came home after school and I was like, I hate math, because everyone does. And my dad was like, why do you hate math? Math is a cool subject. Come on, you know, be different, like it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna start liking math. And the next day I went to school, I told everyone, hey people, I like math. And I think it was from that day on that I was always good in math. It's just so much, you have to change your mindset about certain subjects. In the IB I got 7 points in math standard level, and a lot of other people around me were always struggling because they just had that mindset of math is hard, math is difficult, I can't do it. So it's so important that you actually develop like a passion, curiosity to learn more. Also kind of think about like how those things are going to help you later in life. I mean, oftentimes we're like, oh yeah, this is not ever gonna help me later on, but it probably will. You know, start to realize that what you're studying is interesting, that a lot of people don't even have the chance to study what you're learning, and that is so much information. It's just gonna make you smart and sexy, and it's just gonna enrich you as a person, like so much, all that awesome knowledge you're getting. So instead of having such a negative attitude, try and be more interested and more passionate about what you're doing. You're doing the IB right now. You can't change anything about it. It might suck, but you know, do it with a passion. Do it like you love it. For example, with biology higher level, there was so much to study and so much that you had to remember. So what I did was, you know, whenever I was like out with a friend or something, I started like dropping these random biology facts. I used to be like, oh my god, look, there's like a bird. Did you know this and this and this about birds? Or when I was like at dinner with my family, I started like dropping facts about how the heart works or how the lung works. And you know, then when you actually start talking to other people about that kind of stuff, you actually realize that it's super freaking interesting. Become a little nerd and start liking what you're doing, because you can't change anything about it anyway. You've got to study, and you might as well do it with a passion. Okay, tip number 4. Study guides. Oh my god, okay, study guides will change your life. They're just so... You have to get study guides because they're... For example, these are some English study guides. Oh my god, it like saved my life, you know, in one German book I didn't even read. And yeah, okay, basically these study guides you can get on Amazon. Just type in, you know, study guide for whatever book you're doing in English or German, and they always have like a kind of short summary about what the book is about, and then they tell you all the stylistic devices, all the literary features that the author is using, and all these awesome things that if you know them, your teacher's gonna love you, the IB is gonna love you, and you're gonna get good grades. Apart from English, you can also get study guides basically for all other subjects on Amazon. This, for example, is a study guide for geography, which is so awesome because it's like super thin compared to the actual book, and it just really summarizes all the important things that you actually need to know. So I just studied from this instead of from the fat book because it's just awesome. And this is one for biology, and I also had one for economics. So yeah, this is amazing. Get yourself study guides for the books that you're reading and these extra study guides, because they make such a big difference. Like, they're gonna help you so much. Also, I want to tell you a story, because once we were reading this book in English and I had gotten the study guide for it, and I realized that my teacher had the same study guide, which was really funny because he always asked the questions that were in the study guide, you know, and I always needed answers because I had the study guide, so he thought, you know, he always gave me pretty good grades. Tip number 5. Start studying from the beginning. Don't wait till the end. When it comes to studying for your end of year 11 exams or for your mocks, everyone's always like, this doesn't matter. It's only practice. It's not the final thing. I'm gonna study, you know, just before the final exams. Because in the IB, it's really tempting to do that because nothing really counts as much as your final exams, and they're just at the end of year 12. Start studying from the beginning. It's something that I did, and that has helped me so much. For the year 11 exams, I studied a lot, and for the mocks, I studied a lot, and I was so happy once it came to studying for the finals, because I already had all these notes, and I already knew all of these things in the back of my head that I just didn't have to study as much anymore, and it was just so much easier. Also, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what I get in the IB, fuck IB, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna do well in uni, and I'm gonna transfer to a better uni, I'll do it later. Take responsibility now. It's your life. You're doing the IB now. Do it well, and stop complaining and stop moving things to the end, and just study now, because if you do it now, you're not gonna have to do it later. It's gonna be easier later on. And don't be one of those people that's like, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't... Yeah, you know, if you're gonna be like that, you're never gonna be successful. It's your choice, it's your life. Tip number 6. Know what the IB wants. I think with an international system such as the IB, they're pretty much bound to certain guidelines, and if you know what things these guidelines are asking for, then you're gonna do well. I really recommend you read through the syllabus of the subjects you're doing, and you have a close look at what they're actually looking for. Do they want you to evaluate? Do they want you to discuss? Do they want you to redefine certain ideas? I'll give you an example. In English Language and Literature Paper 1, they want you to compare 2 texts, and there's certain things that they really want to see you look at. It even says it in the question, and it says it in the syllabus. For example, they want you to look at tone, at stylistic devices, at structure, and if you keep dropping those words in your essay, the examiner is going to have a much easier time marking it, because they're going to see you use these keywords that they're looking for, and they're going to be more likely to give you a good grade. Also, I feel like in English Language and Literature, they really want you to look at culture and cultural influences, especially when it comes to the books that you're reading. And if you keep dropping words in your essay that are related to culture, then the examiner's gonna love you because they're like, oh my god, they get what this is actually about. They know what the IB wants, and if you show them that, they're gonna give you a good grade. Also, I feel like when it comes to subjects such as English and German, it really helps to learn your smarty pants words. Look at some super sophisticated words for certain stylistic devices and put them in your essay, because I don't know if most examiners actually read the whole paper, but if they see all these smarty pants words, they're gonna be like, wow, that girl or that guy is smart. I'm gonna give him a 7. Just really, really understand what the IB wants you to do. What does the IB want? And that's what you've got to give them to get a good grade. Tip number 7. Take pretty notes. Oh my god, I love doing that so much. I feel like when you take pretty notes, you're so much more likely to study for them. Taking notes, for me, because I'm a quite creative person, I love taking notes, is fun. And when you take those notes, you're gonna learn at the same time, you know, by taking them. For example, these are my economics notes. Well, I started by typing everything, then I printed it off, and kind of to re-study, I started highlighting the things that, you know, I thought were important, and I drew like pictures, like here's a pineapple. And that really helps you, like, by making notes you learn, and pretty notes make it fun to study, so I think making notes, like, taking the time to take proper notes is so important. Here's another example. This is what I did for geography. And it's quite different to my economics notes. These are a lot of spider diagrams, and I think they're so helpful because they really help to break down complicated concepts and make them more understandable. Also, what I really recommend you get if you need to learn how to draw certain things, such as in biology where you have to draw like sperm cells or egg cells and that kind of stuff, I got myself a little whiteboard and a whiteboard pen, and then I kept drawing these things and I erased them and I drew them again, and I think just because it's so much fun to draw on a whiteboard, I really enjoyed doing that. So it was more fun than drawing it on paper and throwing it away all the time, you know? Make it fun, because you have to study, so you might as well, you know, make it fun and creative. Okay, my last tip, which I think might actually be one of the most important ones that no one else is probably going to tell you about, and that no teacher is gonna, you know, tell you to do, is take time off. When my year graduated, we did those most likely to kind of things. So everybody would get a most likely to, for example, someone would be, I don't know, most likely to be drunk at a party or whatever. And mine was most likely to be absent from school for medical reasons. Because I was actually not at school very often. That was because I've always been kind of like addicted to traveling. And so whenever like my parents went on like a holiday, we always kind of stayed like a week longer. So I was sick for a week, or my ex-boyfriend used to live abroad in a different country, so I flew there like every 3rd weekend. So I often like skipped a Friday or a Monday so I could stay there a little longer. And honestly, I think like, I'm not saying you should skip school or anything, but I honestly think that taking time off, going somewhere else, clearing my mind has helped me so much. Because that way I was forced to like do all the work during the week and then, you know, take the weekend off to have time with myself, with friends, and that time off really helps you to like clear your mind, and it's just so essential. Like, I know that studying is important for the IB, and it's otherwise you're not going to get good grades, but it is the time off that's going to refill your energy. It's going to get your mind off things, and then after you've taken time off, you're 100 times more motivated to go back to studying. So yeah, my tip would probably be have like a day off where you do fun things and not do anything for school, and that way you're kind of like forced to do everything before, and after that day you're more likely to be motivated again to do schoolwork. Also, don't forget to have a few hobbies that will really help you clear your mind and get rid of the study stress that you're under. For me, it really helped to, after school, you know, take like an hour, half an hour to go to the gym and work out, because that really helped me clear my mind and get back my focus to do homework afterwards. Free time is so important, and taking a few hours for yourself a day, because I know it can be very consuming, but it's that free time and those hobbies that we actually really love that are gonna get us motivated to do our best in IB. So that's it. I hope you found these tips helpful. Please leave me a comment down below so I know how many other IB students there are here on YouTube. And yeah, keep going. You know, it's a hard time. The IB is not easy. It's really tough, but I know everyone says it all the time, but it does bring so many advantages, and you know, it's only 2 years. After that you're done and you can start living your life, and you've got such a great diploma in your hand, so make the most out of it. It opens you all doors. You can go to any uni you want if you've got a good IB. So just stay strong. I've cried a lot of times, I've had a lot of bad days, and it's not the easiest time, but just go through it, because at the end you're gonna be so proud of yourself. You can do this. I know you can. See you! Okay, so this is my sister Julia. She also did the IB. What's your top tip on doing awesome in the IB?
I think just don't stress yourself out.
That's what you did.